Before you get started trimming your dog's feet, you will want to make sure that you have the proper tools. I have a pair of nail clippers, a Dremel, a hair clipper, a brush, a pair of straight scissors, and a pair of thinning shears. My straight scissors are much longer than what is needed, and you can get a pair at Walmart or Target that will work just as well for what you need them for. Once you have collected the proper tools, it's time to get started. I'm just a dog girl, and I'm a certified professional groomer. The first thing that I am going to do is trim my dog's nails. I don't want to start trimming any hair on the feet until the nails are the proper length. This video is not focused on how to trim your dog's nails, so we're not going to get too involved in that. When I do trim my dog's nails, I make sure that I take several small cuts instead of taking one large cut. This ensures that I don't hit the quick and my dog does not bleed. You should always give your dog a haircut when his hair is clean. It is hard on the scissors when you do not have clean hair, as well as you don't always get quite as even of a haircut. I did not bathe Bane before this video, so I am cutting dirty hair. My haircut will not be as good as it could have been if he had been clean. Now that Bane's nails are properly clipped, I am going to go ahead and shave his feet. I do want to make a quick note about one of his pads, as it looks like it's cut. It is not, it is just the coloration of the foot, so I just want to make sure that everybody is aware that he does not have a cut foot. What I am going to do with my clipper is I'm going to shave between his toes very carefully and make sure that all the hair is cleaned out from under his feet. Something else that I like to do is I like to edge the foot a little bit with my clipper so that I don't have to do it with my scissors at a later time. I am using a Wall Bravura cordless clipper, and it is on a 40 blade. Now that Bane's pads are shaved, I am going to go ahead and start trimming the foot. I like to make sure that all of the hair is brushed out on the back of the leg as well as on top of the foot before I start any of my trimming. I am going to start my scissoring at the bottom of his foot. I'm going to go around the foot and make sure to edge it so that it's a nice rounded foot. I want you to remember that I am a professional groomer, so I am a lot more comfortable using my shears than most. Please take your time and be careful with your dog's foot while doing this. To trim the top of the foot, I'm going to take my brush and brush the hair up. And all I'm going to do is take off those extra long hairs between the toes. I'm going to do this a couple of times with the brush and make sure that he doesn't have little pointy toes. Once I've trimmed it up to where I like it, I'm going to brush up again and do the same thing, trim the tops of the feet. Using your fingers to pull up the hair between the toes can sometimes be controversial. However, I find that I am more comfortable with pulling the hair up and then brushing it up. This ensures that I get all of the long hairs out from between his feet. I like a natural looking foot, and my secret to achieving this is my set of thinning shears. As a groomer, this is a great way to make sure that everything looks natural and you don't have any harsh cuts or lines. So all I'm going to do is brush the foot up again and take off any of those edges with my thinning shears. It softens everything and makes it look very natural. The last step in trimming Bane's front feet is I am going to thinning shear his pasterns. This is more of a personal preference, and I like the pasterns to be nice and neat. It tends to help me keep the mud out of my house. So all I'm going to do is brush them up and trim off any of those flyaway ends to make sure that he has less hair to bring in more mud. Your back feet are going to be much of the same. I'm going to do the same thing and start by trimming underneath his foot first and making sure that it's nice and neat around the foot. Back feet can be harder to groom just because it's harder to find the correct angle. Make sure that you're careful as you're trimming the foot and you don't accidentally cut your dog. It's better to go slow than to make a mistake. If you have an older dog or a dog that gets sore easily, it may be easier to do this with your dog on the ground or with a helper. Because the back legs have to be lifted up a little bit, I try to make sure that I trim around the bottoms of the foot while the foot is on the table. This is less stressful for my dog and it's easier for him to stand. The last step in trimming Bane's back legs is trimming his hocks. Just like the pastern, the hock hair is optional. I personally like it to look neat and be kept. It also brings less mud in when they're nice and clean. All I'm going to do is take off the flyaway ends and make them nice and neat. You do not have to use thinning shears for this step. However, I find that it makes a more natural looking hock. And as I said before, I like a natural looking foot. I hope you find this video helpful, and just remember, I'm just a dog girl.